My heart, I find the truth. I find me in you. But you beyond what you may see now. But when we are one, even more good about. No matter who, what you call yourself, where you come from, yeah. There is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. Even the wise, loud and unfold, embrace and let go. Trust the flow. There's a freedom in love when you follow your heart. Together we are strong, and we could ever be apart. No matter who, what you call yourself, or where you come from, yeah. There is a place in this world with open arms right now. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. You are welcome here. You are welcome here. Breathe in and out, slowly feel all that's around you, all that you feel, all that you know. Let it go. Welcome to love, welcome to peace, welcome to our community. Be who you are, let your light shine. We're so much more when we unite. Yeah, when we unite, we unite. When we unite. You are welcome here. Love is welcome here. Peace is welcome here. You are welcome here.
You are welcome here. Welcome, welcome to Center for Spiritual Living Ocala, this place of awesomeness and awesome people. I just thought y'all would know how many people are new into this building, never been here before.
Yeah, for all you
Everybody has been here before. That means your energy is used to our energy. So hey, how y'all doing? How y'all doing? It's been a while. It's been a minute for some of y'all, but it's okay. Oh my goodness, happy holidays to everyone for this month. Everybody that's having holiday stuff going on, right? The good stuff, the bad stuff, the not so sure about it stuff. That's okay. All of it is wonderful. And all of it is for our up-leveling, right? You feel yourself growing through all of this stuff?
Yep.
All right, so this belongs to someone? Are these keys someone's keys?
That's why I've been walking around with just this.
The fairy has struck
I do.
All right, so welcome. We have a vision here at Center for Spiritual Living Ocala that we are a model center for spiritual living, as evidenced by the transformational impact we have in our spiritual community, which is us, right here, right? The CSL organization, which is a larger organization in all of the CSLs all over the world, and then the community at large, which is Ocala, state of Florida, America, the world. Yeah, it starts here and it goes out. Kind of like our logo, right? Starts here and it goes out. And we have a mission. And our mission is to empower individuals to awaken to the power and presence that lies within them, all around them, so they may live their very best lives. Not just the peace here, but how can I be peace everywhere? How can I be joy everywhere? And to see joy reflected back and peace reflected back. Yeah. And we have some values. So I'm going to ask you to say them after me because after all, we did choose them as a community. So here we go. Spiritual growth and practice.
Spiritual growth and practice.
We do that every first Sunday. We come up in here and we learn a new spiritual tool together. Love.
Love.
We do this all the time by calling each other and texting each other and saying, hey girl, how you doing? Appreciation.
Appreciation.
We say, I am so happy that you are here and that you are alive. Community.
Community.
What we do all the time when we gather, right? Freedom.
Freedom.
Are y'all free? Y'all free to feel the way you want to feel and be who you are? Yes. Creativity.
Creativity.
This is my creativity standing in front of y'all. This is what it is. Health and wholeness.
Health and wholeness.
We call to our bodies what we want our bodies to feel, which is great dopamine. That's why we come here. Generosity.
Generosity.
This place exists because others were here before, like Reverend Peggy and everyone before her who laid the very foundation of this room so we may be here. And financial well-being.
Financial well-being.
That even through COVID, our center is still alive and thriving. It is because of our community, and that is why our values are so near and dear to me. And at this time, I'd like to ask Reverend Peggy to come up and bless us with spiritual mind treatment. I believe that's where we are. We're going to do the drum first. Let's do the drum
Are we
first.
doing a song or drum?
We're doing drums first. So here's something that you should know about drumming. And one of the reasons I started to dive into that modality called drumming, and meditative drumming is when you just drum to music. You're just drumming and you just allow yourself to just let go into the feeling, right? So that's what we're going to be doing. Some of our people, hey guys! One of the things that we do is we do this on a regular together, joyful expressions, right? To get together and just let the energy out. And all of us has heard the drum before. We were formed in the sound of the drum. Your mother's heartbeat is what brought you into this expression. And so, when you were in the womb, and you were perfectly held in divine space, in divine and feminine space, you didn't know what your story was yet. You had no clue that you were dark, or black, or white, or pink hair, or whatever. Right? You were just coming into the expression. And that is why we drum. It brings us back to that moment of, I'm being held in divine feminine space. Right? So you can go back there while we drum. And this wonderful, wonderful woman, Susan K. Wyatt, sings this song. And this is a New Thought artist that we just absolutely love. And we bring him all the time. John Stringer was the first artist that we heard. You are welcome here. So anytime we bring artists here, please, please come and see them. Divine energy speaks through their fingers and mouths, and you will be blessed. So here you go.
Every life, every day is a hero's journey. Every life, every day is a hero's journey. Listen to the sound. Can you hear the message? Listen to the sound, beckoning to you, safe passage.
Hey, you don't have to have a drum in order to listen to the sound. All you gotta do is put your hand at your heart. Right now my sound's going a little faster, a little stronger. And I breathe. And I listen to the sound of life through my breath and my heartbeat. Listen to the sound. That is us. Perfection at the core. With Peggy.
What a wonderful space we're in right now. The drumming and the music and the words of Donna for us this morning put us in a place where it's easy to go into prayers. So I invite us to do that right now. To recognize that which we're breathing, that which we're feeling right now is God in expression. That all that has gone before this day, all that this center is about, all that our very lives about is being that expression, that immediate moment-to-moment expression of the divine. We can feel the allness and the greatness of that divine source of all good when we look into the heavens. At the full moon this last week, as Mars came very close to the moon, we feel ourselves a part of something so much larger than ourselves, and yet so intimately connected with it. In this very moment, I invite us to realize that since that which creates and sustains everything is everywhere present, it must be what we are. Our very life is a unique, intentional expression of the all. And when we come to that place of awareness, it's so easy to speak our word in faith believing, because not only do we find ourselves at one with that which God is, but we find ourselves at one with the power that creates everything. And so if there's something new that we would choose to experience in our life that we're dreaming for, let's know that that dream was planted as a divine idea from that one source, and all that is necessary for the fruition of that dream is on its way. If there's a sense of separation or something less than wholeness, let us set those ideas aside, knowing that they do not align themselves with the truth of being. That wholeness, good health, wonderful beingness is ours simply because we exist. That we set aside any belief in otherness and allow ourselves to be blessed by the wholeness of the divine. Each one of us is that wholeness in expression right now. If there's any sense of lack or limitation in our lives, let us know that we find ourselves surrounded by an infinitely abundant source of all that's good. And that as we speak our word in faith, believing for our own individual experience of that abundance, it flows freely in and through and as us. Every need is met. Every blessing is ours. And this morning I invite us to recognize that there are centers for spiritual living throughout the world celebrating these truths today as they come together in community wherever they might be in the world. And what a blessing it is for us to have such a place as Center for Spiritual Living Ocala to come and be at one with that which God is and that which is one another. As we recognize that truth of being one to the other. And let us also be in this wonderful gratitude for all that work behind the scenes to help to make CSL Ocala what it is. All that goes on during the week or in prayer throughout the week, let us know that we are blessed by so many who have that same vision that we have of a divine experience in spiritual community. And let us especially give thanks for our Reverend Cindy and the message that Spirit has for us that flows through her this morning. knowing that each of her words touch our heart and lift us up, that we are blessed and we are a blessing. How wonderful it is to know that as we align our thinking with the truth of being, that same power that creates and sustains the whole universe is flowing through these ideas. And we are lifted and blessed, not just in this moment, but throughout the rest of our lives into eternity, because we know who we are, the intentional expression of the divine. I do give thanks that all of this is so, and let us say together, and so it is.
Wow. Isn't that a great launch? I mean, a really perfect setup for today. Thank you so much, Reverend Becky and Donna, Joyful Noise, everybody. Just my heart is full just to be here with you. And I missed being with you last month, but I will tell you why. You'll find out all about that. This year we have been talking about living in everyday wonder. And I have to say, it's probably my favorite all-time topic, because it has us living with joy and excitement and enthusiasm, like what's next, living in wonder like my grandkids do all the time. Well, not all the time. Not all the time. Life is not wondrous all the time. That's why it's good to come here and to be reminded of the wonders of life. Yes? Yeah, all right. We've got to be real here, right? Life is not wondrous at every moment. Although, whatever, I'll let that go. Anyway. So every month is a different aspect of our lives, this idea of living everyday wonder. So we talked about our inner lives, and we talked about emotions and in nature and just all kinds of stuff. And last month we talked about living everyday wonder at home, and this month we're talking about community. It was just the perfect layout. Everything was wonderful. But just so you understand, I was part of the team that helped put these talks together. And we had 12 different writers, and every writer got a month that they focused on. And so mine was for November, living everyday wonder at home. And it was the one talk I didn't get to do. Isn't that fascinating? But Donna was able to step in, and I thank you. And she was the perfect person, because Donna and Norma, if you know them, and if you've ever been to their home, you know what a welcoming environment that is. And they carry that with them every place they go. Their home is just such a welcoming, warm place. And I think she was just the ideal person to give that talk. But I want to do a little bit of kind of background to give you an idea of what my thought process was in putting that whole series together. And so living everyday wonder at home. What are the wonders of being at home? And the idea that came to me was the hero's journey. How many of you are familiar with that? We just heard that song, right? The hero's journey. Every life, every day is a hero's journey. So hero's journey is one of those archetypes. It's something that you see across different cultures, across different times. You find it, for eons. Like every great story has the arc of the hero's journey. So the hero starts at home, right? Every journey starts at home. And at home, you get your foundation for going out into the world. Good, bad, and different. Some of us got some good stuff. Some of us got some not so good stuff. But whatever it is, we got what we needed to go out to the world and live our journey. Now, some people get pushed out. Some people get pulled into that journey. It happens in all different ways. But has everybody here seen The Wizard of Oz, Dorothy? Y'all know that story, right? So Dorothy, in her world when she's at home is in black and white. And then she goes into this other universe that's multicolored. And it's got all of this adventure. And there are helpers that come along the way. There are challenges. And so it really is a metaphor for our journey, for everybody's journey, right? We all started at home. We go out into life and adventure and trials and tribulations. And then there is a point where the journey, you kind of find out why you're here, basically, right? In Dorothy's journey, it was to find those slippers so she could get back home, right? And the truth is that she had everything that she needed for that journey the whole time, yes? Remember that part? So the same thing is true for us. We have everything that we need to go through this crazy human journey. And I have created a curriculum, a course. I'm working on a book to go along with this that has this whole thing interwoven into it, along with peace-building principles that I've been learning over the past, well, I just want to say 4 years specifically in peace, but it's been a whole lifetime, leading up to this. And so I created this curriculum, and I put the hero's journey in it, and I also, I don't know if you know or not know, but I have a part-time gig as well. I'm here at the Center for Spiritual Living, and I'm also at the River Phoenix Center for Peace Building. And so last month, I was facilitating an 8-day intensive, like super intensive workshop where people came from all over the world. I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but that's what they paid me to do. So it was a big deal to be finally in November, been working on this for a year and be able to come together in this process, which is why I was not here. So every day, living everyday wonder at home, hero's journey. I was a little bit on my journey. I've been on my journey for a bit now, and that was kind of the culmination of a whole lot of work. So let me go back here. I need to put my glasses on so I can read you what this journey is and why it's an important metaphor. Yeah, it's hard to see. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. But so the hero goes out, they get their call to adventure, they enter the unknown, they meet their mentors and have all these challenges and stuff. And so the course that I've created is about the tools that you use when you're on this journey. Right? So, and we've talked about all of this stuff in one form or fashion in this center. At some point we've talked about it. So what I believe, what we have and what we offer here at the Center for Spiritual Living is tools to make that journey a little bit easier, right? And a little bit more fun. So you go through these trials and tribulations, and then you have the final showdown, and then, right, the showdown, right? When Dorothy throws the water on the witch, and she it's the culmination of the journey. But then the journey doesn't end there because the hero has to come back home. Right? And that's where they really show their stuff. I mean, that's the whole reason for the journey, is so they can come into their gifts and then give what it is that they're here to give. So does that make sense for everybody? Mm-hmm. Yes, so the pinnacle of this thing is this idea of self-actualization. How many of you have heard that term? Yes. It's like the be all you can be. If you remember the pyramid of needs, right? Yes. Yeah, so the top of that is self-actualization. But there actually was a level even beyond that, which Maslow called transcendence. Right, so be all you can be, it's that transformation. And what does it take? What's involved in this whole journey? Well, courage, right? It takes courage to set out in the first place. And courage doesn't mean the absence of fear, by the way. Courage is feeling the fear and doing the thing you need to do anyway, right? That's courage. So don't think when you're trying something new and that fear comes up that there's something wrong. Because the courage is acknowledging and feeling that fear and moving anyway. It takes, okay, so back it up a little bit. This idea of self-actualization and transformation and the hero's journey is really, again, it's all our journey, potentially all of our journey. And when we get to that end place, the idea of getting to the end place is that idea of coming into your own, right? Of spiritual maturity, of psychological maturity. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Right? Coming into your, and what does it take to be in that psychological maturity? What does that mean? Mm-hmm. So people who come to the end of that journey, who come into their own and being the hero, they have courage. They take accountability for themselves. That's what it means to be psychologically and spiritually mature. Is that you're no longer living as a victim, right? You take accountability for yourself and how you got to where you are, and what do you need to do to move beyond that? So being accountable. People who are spiritually mature, self-actualized, whatever you want to call it, have this way of non-attachment. right? So we have our preferences. We may have our ways that we want things to be, and they don't always go that way. And how do you deal with that? So to be able to be non-attached to the outcomes is also a sign of spiritual maturity. And then this idea, again, of transcendence, of living beyond yourself, of living for something that's bigger than you. And in some places they call that agape. The Bible, I think, calls it agape love. You know, we have a center, well, in New Thought, it used to be one of our centers, and it's Agape International. And it was started by Reverend Michael Beckwith. Y'all know that center? So here's what they say their purpose is. Our purpose as an intentional spiritual community is to be a living environment for individuals to realize that they are unique emanations of God, the love intelligence governing the universe. We embody an understanding of our oneness with God, and we consciously practice this truth in our everyday lives. Through the New Thought, ageless wisdom teachings, and the energy of unconditional love, we are committed to individual transformation and being a beneficial presence on the planet. Simply, we are here for God. Isn't that beautiful? So community of people who have that as their highest value, their highest intention, is to be, we are here for God, and to be here for one another. And so that's what last month was all about, right? The idea of embodying that hero's journey so much and feeling at home so much within yourself that you embody it so that other people can feel at home in your presence. Now, wouldn't that be amazing? How many of you feel like at home anywhere you go? Anybody there? Yeah, I've been working on this for a long time, and I can finally say that I get that. I can feel that. And now I want it to be so much that whenever people are around me, that they feel at home. And they know what that feels like so that they can go out and be that for other people. And we create this ripple effect that Donna talked about. So that's the culmination of this curriculum that I put together and this immersion experience that I did, was to have people feel that sense of home within themselves and belonging wherever they go. That's how we create peace in the world. So this just to show you what some of that experience was. Immersion 2022. I did my first one in 2018, and it was just, I think it was 7 or 8 days altogether. Now we've taken it and we're doing 8 days, and then a few months in between, another 8 days, and a few months in between, and eight more days together. And in those in between, we'll be doing online learning. There were not a lot of us. There was, what is it, Sarah, about 14 of us. And Sarah was there. You see, where's Sarah?
In the front.
Sarah's over here next to me. Yep, and she's over in that picture over there. So a lot of it was outside and inside, but there were literally people from all over the world. We had 2 gentlemen that were with us from Africa that were interns, and we had a woman who lives in the poorest county in the United States, which is the Lakota Reservation. Pine Ridge
Reservation.
Yes, where the Lakota live. South Dakota, yes. We had someone who works with inner city youth in Chicago, another one who works in social justice in Montgomery and Selma, Alabama. We had a gentleman who was with us who served 21 years in prison and is now helping people as they transition back out. It was an incredibly diverse group of people. This was one of the gentlemen. This was Mansouk. I gotta put my glasses on because I want to read what he says here. Now, Mansouk, where was he from, Sarah? Not Sierra Leone.
He was from South Sudan.
South
but
Sudan.
He's a refugee in Uganda.
Correct. He lived in South Sudan. And picture this, you're 7 years old playing football, soccer, whatever it is they call it, and the parents and the neighborhood people just come running through the village, snatching up their kids and keep on running out into the woods where they had to live for like 4 or 5 months until they were relocated to a refugee camp because of the horror that was happening in their home. People with guns, and just incredible. So this is him. Oh darn it, can't read what he says here. Nothing keeps a child out of trouble like a father who takes an active role in his son's life. Sometimes fathers don't even know how to be the best fathers. It can be hard to give what you yourself have not received. We have no option. We can and must break these cycles of generational transference of pain and need. So that's Mansuk and one of his children, he has 2 children, who also now live in the refugee camp with millions of people. So he was here in the US learning what he could learn from this process, from this peace building, so he could take it back to his community in Uganda and start running peace circles. Because in South Sudan, where he's from, there are 64 different tribes. 64 different tribes. They all speak different languages, and none of them get along. Can you imagine that?
He's gonna be a busy man.
He's going to be a busy man. And 70% of the population is under the age of 30. It might be lower than that even. So he was one of our participants, just one. Every one of these people had just amazing stories. And there we are at PK Young. That was one of the parts of the training. PK Young is a school in Gainesville, a public school in Gainesville. And we spent 2 days, our group, the immersion group, with a group of teachers and other educators in Gainesville, teaching them what we call restorative practices. It's ways to handle the disciplinary issues that are happening in our schools, right? You know, we've been through this whole long COVID ordeal, and kids are acting out. There's been a lot of losses academically. Not only that, but kids are coming back with anxiety and depression and the same stuff that all the adults are dealing with, and don't know how to deal with it. So when kids don't know how to deal with all of this pain and stuff that's happening, what do you think their behavior exhibits? Right? They're off the charts, and teachers don't know what to do with that. So there are things that are being done in different communities, pockets all over, not just the United States, but the world, that's based on indigenous practices of restorative justice, bringing people together in circle, building relationships. And so that's what we were there in the Gainesville school teaching. And it was really quite an experience to have these people from all over the world experiencing this particular campus. It's part of the University of Florida as well. So it's like top notch, everything. But it was intense. And you know, what does that say? Trust your inner resources. That was an activity we did. We had people pick up values that meant something to them. And that was one that came up for me. So it was intense. It was intense. If you can imagine, 8 days together, and we were talking about very emotional things, how to deal with different emotions. Trauma, of course, is a huge issue. And then how do we overcome that? How do we develop resilience? Was a big part of what we talked about. So one of the most amazing things to me, one of the great wonders about this idea of community, is the fact that we are all connected all of the time, whether we want it or not. Right? Do you realize that? Mm-hmm. We're really like one human, imagine a human body, has all of these different cells, and I don't know if the cells have their own individual consciousness, like if they're aware of what's going on with the rest of it, like we are. You know, we think we're separate because I don't know what's going on in your mind. Right? I know what's going on in mine. I know what I'm feeling, but I don't know what's going on for anybody else. And we feel like we are separate. And so it's really an illusion, right? Because we are so interconnected. And I just wrote that. We are inextricably connected, whether we like it, want it, feel it, or believe it. Doesn't matter. It's still a fact. Right? You talk about the human body. Maybe, I wonder if the brain cells ever think, like, we're the boss here. You know, you all have to do what I say, until Sphincter says, yes, I say things shut down right now. Right? Let's see how fast the brain changes its mind about who's boss. So, I mean, you know, what happens when our bodies do that? Like, there could be a group of cells that says, yo, peace out. You know, I don't want any part of the rest of you. And what do we call that? Cancer. Cancer, hello. Right? It takes down the whole system. So we have to remember that we are all part of the same body, whether we like it or not, whether you want to be affiliated with those those people sitting in prison, or you want to feel like you're connected to that homeless person down the street, or that jerk in Congress. You know, we are all interconnected, like it or not. So we need to learn how to live together in a way that is harmonious for all of us, right? If we don't, we might not last as a species. You know, and I think all of the division and all the stuff that we're seeing is really evidence of that. Oh, you know, we have a great little video. Can we show that? So we create community. I think it's a source, other people in general, of our greatest pain and also our greatest joy, right? Is being in relationship with people. So this is just a little video short of how we create heaven and hell through community. Yeah. A minute, right? A minute was all that took. What a lesson, though. Right? That the difference between heaven and hell, right there. So, you know, we created in that 8 days that we were together, these people very, very diverse in age, in ethnicity, in experience, and created this incredible community in very, very short time. Very short time. We went to depths. I mean, I covered some stuff myself with my own trauma and history that I didn't realize was there. I mean, I kind of knew, but I didn't know the depth of it until I got into that community group. And we did this one activity in particular where you saw us all in circle, and we had different areas that represented, 4 areas that represented strong emotions, feelings. So one was anger, one was sadness, one was fear, and the other was nothingness. And you would go from one place to another. And we watched as one person would sit in fear and speak their fear, like from the deepest, depths, and witness that. Now, I'm one of those, I'm just going to share your term, Sarah, silent sufferer. Anybody else a silent sufferer? Like if I'm going to cry, I'm going to be by myself. The ugly cry. A few people have seen, no, that's a lie. Y'all have seen me cry. You haven't seen the real ugly cry, though. You haven't seen that. That's the one I do by myself. But there is something to being seen in a space like that, right? And other people seeing that. It does something. It changes us in some way. So that was really quite an amazing experience. So I thought I'd break down what I think went into creating that intense, close community that happened so quickly. And the first thing I would say is courage. Because everybody there, it took courage to be there. It took money, it was time, it was a lot. But for people to say, yes, I'm going to do this. And we know that everything we want, right? You're all religious scientists. Everything you want is on the other side of your fear. And it takes that courage to get through. Vulnerability, like I said, that willingness to sit there and do the ugly cry and tell the truth about your life and the things that aren't working and the things that aren't great and your pain as a human being. It takes courage, right? It takes courage, that willingness to be vulnerable and to be seen. There's strength in that courage, in that vulnerability. There are great gifts that come when we can do that. But of course you have to feel safe enough to be able to do that. Faith. I saw a lot of faith. You know, the woman that was with us from the Lakota reservation was very, very disabled. We had no idea how disabled she was. She got there, she needed help for everything, to walk up the stairs, to get to the bathroom. Eventually we got her a wheelchair. How that woman drove from South Dakota to Gainesville and back, it took her weeks, and she did it. And there, you know, there was a moment where people in the circle were just commiserating on how awful the world is and how mean people are. And she said, I just have to remind you all, I made it here from South Dakota, and people helped me every step of the way. And it happened in the immersion. She had help from the minute she got there. Everything, to the whole trip, I mean the whole time. I was just, that grew my faith. That grew my faith. I don't know that I could have gotten in a car and driven across the country like she did, barely able to walk. It was just incredible. So faith. Hearts of service. All of these people were there because they had these great big hearts and want to do something in their communities. They want to make a difference in their world, their little piece of the world. That's why they were there. Care, compassion, kindness, obviously, right? That's part of that heart of service. A shared sense of purpose. That was probably the biggest thing, right? They were all there for a peace building seminar. So that already, like, you know, that brought us our population. People who are not into that weren't even going to apply for something like that. But they had a shared sense of purpose. And then a dedication and commitment to something greater than themselves. Doesn't that sound a little bit like transcendence? Right? To see the problem out there and say, how can I use my gifts and talents to meet that need that's in my community, to meet that need in my family, to meet that need in the school down the street. Right? That's what these people were about. And so that's what I think we're about too, by the way. Right? A lot of commonalities, and that's why I still hang out with y'all. Just so you know. You know, because truly, like I said, I take my home with me wherever I go. I can create beautiful community. But this is my home, you know. You all are the people that hold me up, right? Give me my stories. You know, some of you were here last week, and it was just not too long after the immersion. I was in a very still, raw, kind of a vulnerable space, and I almost didn't come because, like I said, I'm the silent sufferer that does my crying at home, come and do the ugly cry. But I felt like I needed to share part of that experience and be upheld because I needed it for my community because it was so painful. But beautiful thing that we did too last week. No, when was that? It was the circle after. That was when I had the breakdown. Okay, no. So this was last week. I was over the breakdown by then. But we were talking about together as a group. This is our spiritual practice, the idea of gathering as community and how important that is. And how do we be more intentional about it? Thank you. How do we be intentional about gatherings? And so I asked a series of questions. We had first we talked about, you know, kind of the science behind gathering a little bit. And then I asked questions of the people who were here. Raise your hands if you were here, if you participated. So we've got some great answers. I think you're really going to like this stuff. So this is our spiritual community. What was that?
I said, oh, about to read it.
Yeah, I'm going to read them.
What are you telling me?
Let's see. All right, so for the first question was, what's the value of gathering? And why do we come together? And I meant this in the biggest way. Like, why do human beings gather at all? You know, we found out during the pandemic, you could sit at home, right, and see the best speakers. You can order out. I mean, we really don't even have to leave our homes hardly ever. Right, so why then do we take the trouble to come out and gather, you know, in groups? So here's what our people came up with. To feel seen in a safe place, to feel at home, to have a safe place for all people to come together, to express themselves and their talents, to learn, grow, help, because we want human connection, because we want to share energy and raise vibration, because of calmness and hugs and celebrations. We come together to challenge our beliefs, to grow, right? To gain new perspectives, to meet like-minded people, and to enjoy ourselves, and to remember we're all connected. Then, how do we create atmospheres of safety and belonging, both individually and collectively? In other words, one of the most important aspects, I think, of home, if you think about it, is that feeling of safety, right? Like, I can be in my home and I can be completely myself, right? That's your place. It should be your place of sanctuary. So how do we create that inside of ourselves and as we go out into the world? And these are the answers that we got. Good hugs. Again, no, hugs, sorry. Hugs. Good manners. Being welcoming, saying hello, managing our own energy. I think people were thinking about welcoming as far as the building goes, right? So then things like good music, right? Having a decor that is calming, that's soothing, with good lights. Food and wine, that's welcoming, right? Then we have inclusion, ground rules, healthy boundaries, respecting other people and their stories, not dominating conversations, being able to hold space and allowing people to just sit and be, meeting them where they are, honoring self and others, and then being ourselves authentic, having self-respect, and being mindful of how we speak to others. Then, what kind of people do you enjoy being with? Spiritual people. Duh. Kind, uplifting, happy, open-minded, good energy, good vibes, thought-provoking people. Fun people that laugh, people that are seeking spiritual growth, people that are creative, crazy, wild, adventurous, jokesters, ambitious, positive, authentic, diverse, brave, loyal, respectful, loving, caring, CSL Ocala people. Let's see. If you've been here more than twice, why do you come? For feeling at home, for connection, friendship, community, family, for spiritual growth, for engagement, to be of service, to open the door to new possibilities, to be open at the top, to live life through new perspectives, for positivity. Then we have unity, remembering our oneness, our wholeness, for balance, for bridging the divides, and for unconditional love, laughter, balance, and support. And then the last one, what would an ideal spiritual community look, sound, feel like, be like? What are the essentials of a thriving community? We have positivity, encouraging, uplifting, friendly, fun, safe space, non-judgmental, accepting, unconditional loving of each other, kindness, a drive to be understanding, honesty, integrity, private stuff kept private. We would see meditation, people in meditation, dedication, power in numbers, lots and lots of volunteers, as well as money and financial stability. So, for those of you who weren't here, what do you think? Is that a community that you want to be part of? Right? Yeah. That's a community I want to be part of. For sure. Community, I just love this quote. Community means strength that joins our strength to do the work that needs to be done. Arms to hold us when we falter, a circle of healing, a circle of friends, someplace where we can be free. Yeah, isn't that beautiful? But we have to embody it ourselves. It's so important that we feel all of those things, in here. And when we don't feel it, that we have other people that we can call, right? That can hold us up, right? Walk us through. So here's the call to action, right? There's always that call to action. What do we want you to do? I want you to dedicate yourself and commit yourself to your own growth and your own spiritual practice. Be your hero. What would it be like for you to be the hero of your own journey? And like the song said, I mean, it's not like there's just one journey. Your life is a journey every day. Every day. Everything you go through, you can look at it as that hero's journey, right? Knowing that you're going to have those trials and tribulations, but there's also going to be those friends, and then you're going to be really scared and have that showdown, right? And then you take what you learned out into the world. Then you dedicate and commit yourself to being a beneficial presence in your community. Not just this community, but as it ripples out, right? Right? In the schools, in the wherever it is, your workplace, your family. Again, that's it. I say this all the time. It's a big part of why I do this work. Because I have people in my family that are close, that I love, that are way on the other side in so many ways. And I have to be able to live with them and to still love them in spite of the fact that they may believe very differently and have very different values than I do. Because we are all part of that same human body. And because it feels so much better than being in that anxiety and anger. Can anybody else relate to that?
Absolutely.
Okay. And then, next call to action, attend our annual meeting, right? We're having an annual meeting at the end of January to talk about how we're moving forward and what does this community want to be. As I said, I have lots of things that I'm doing. And frankly, I think it was a blessing that this place could not afford me. That you couldn't pay me a full-time salary, because it made me go out there in the world and show up in other ways. So, and that's what we want, that every single person in here, is a representative of this community.
But we do want to be able to afford you.
But well, that's great.
That
Thank you.
part.
Thanks, Norma.
We can do both. So it is. We can still do both. It's okay.
Yeah, or we create a new way.
Yes.
Or we create a new way. I've had this idea in my mind of a community center.
Yeah.
What does a community center run? Who runs a community center?
The people.
Like, why does it have to be the minister that does the administrating and all that stuff? I'm not up for that. Y'all need to step up and take some of those things, right? I know it's somebody else's gift in here. Somebody else's gift that loves to do that kind of stuff, right? And let me do what I'm good at, so that I don't have to slog through the stuff I don't like and I'm not good at, right?
All of us together.
All of us together, all of us together. There is no power for change greater than a community discovering what it cares about.
Amen.
From Margaret Wheatley. That's big. Yeah, that's really big. So, I don't know. Did I wrap this up well enough?
Oh,
Yes, it's beautiful.
Yeah, y'all got it? Everybody excited,
Ready.
committed, ready,
Yes.
ready for this next year?
Yes.
Another little FYI, what we're gonna do, we're not gonna do the CSL themes for next year. I'm gonna take the curriculum, that self-renewal, social, emotional, life-focused renewal, the curriculum that I used with River Phoenix that I've been working on, and we're gonna do that next year. Because I'm excited to see more and more peace builders out in this world, people who know the actual how-to of bridging those gaps, that have those tools and feel the confidence and the ability and the skill to step up in those really uncomfortable moments. And also to prevent them from happening in the first place. Wouldn't that be?
Amen.
Anybody else up for that?
Yes.
Super cool. So be here in
And we don't have
January.
to buy it.
You don't have to buy it, exactly. You all will help me finish the book. So here's our affirmation then.
Yes.
And you can all say this. I'll say it once and then you say it with me. As I recognize and embody oneness, I empower others to do the same. And I'll just say that this is for me what the opening was. It was a Ram Dass quote that says, we're really all just walking each other home. Right? This isn't our home. This isn't our home. There is our home where we know who we are. We feel that oneness, and we're all just walking each other there together. Alright, so this is another way of saying that is I recognize and embody the oneness within me. I empower others to do the same. As I recognize and embody oneness, I empower others to do the same. And so it is. So it is. Alright. I think our closing prayer is going to be a song. It is. Our closing prayer is a song. And it's going to be led by Donna and Joyful Noise.
Okay, alright. So this is one of my favorite songs. And as Tech is getting us ready to go. Yeah. Test, test. Hello.
Number 5. I'm on.
Check.
Number 5.
Number 5.
Number 5.
Number 5 is alive.
Alright. So I love that Reverend Cindy was talking about the community and how it was working as the tech is working on that one. But as our community gets together and, you know, Joyful Expressions has been this thing that's been very fluid lately. So we haven't been singing very often together as a community. And as it's coming forward, the songs come to us and then we present the songs. That's how I've been working on it. And I've been encouraging us to just have fun and sing for the sake of singing. And we've been doing that too. And learning music as we go along. So if you're out there, it's one of our favorite songs. We did this on stage, I think, for the oneness, diversity oneness, I think, as Joyful Noise. And now Joyful Expressions is all of it together. Music, singing, all of it. So here we go. If you hear this message, wherever you stand, I'm calling every woman, I'm calling every man. We're the generation who can't afford to wait. The future started yesterday, and we're already late. We've been looking for a song to sing, search for a melody, search for someone to lead. We've been looking for the world to change. If you feel the same, then go on and say, if you're out there, sing along with me. If you're out there, I'm dying to believe that you're out there. Stand up and say it loud. If you're out there, tomorrow's starting now. No more call to war, unless it's love and peace that we're really fighting for. We can destroy hunger, and we can conquer hate. Put down the arms and raise a voice, we're joining hands today. Oh, I was looking for a song to sing. I searched for a leader, but the leader was me. We were looking for the world to change. We can be heroes. Just go on and say, if you're out there, sing along with me. If you're out there, I'm dying to believe that you're out there. Stand up and say it loud. If you're out there, tomorrow's starting now. you're out there. I'm dying to believe that you're out there. Stand up and say it loud if you're out there. Tomorrow's starting now. If you're out there. If you're out there. If you're out there. If you hear this message, wherever you stand, I'm calling every woman, and I'm calling every man, and everybody in between. We're the generation, we can't afford to wait. The future started yesterday, and we're already late. Thank you, joyful expressions.
Yay to the choir.
Oh my goodness. Give them one more round of applause. Can I just tell you, I just throw things at these people overnight on a Saturday. Hey, guess what? We're singing this song tomorrow. No practice. And here they are. Oh my goodness. Because they're out there, right? They took up the mantle and they said, yes. And every time Reverend Cindy calls and says, Donna, you're gonna, what do you think? You'll talk. Yes. Why? Because this community is making a difference in the world. We show up because we know that you are showing up. You are sharing your gifts, your time, your talent, your treasure out in the world. It is that we tap into. And so we activate that, which is that law of giving and receiving and giving and receiving. Just like the tides of the ocean, guess what? Sunrise, sunset, sunrise, sunset. Giving, receiving. And as we step into sharing of our gifts, the ladies in the back are grabbing the basket, as well as the prayer request treasure chest there. Does anybody here need a prayer request form? If you want to raise your hand, if you need one of those. Okay. If you need one, Pam has them available. So you can write down. Alright, and together we will do this affirmation as one. It is the nature of life to give of itself, as it is the tree's nature to bear fruit and the flower's nature to bloom. It is my nature to share the gifts of my time, talent, and treasure. I participate in the divine flow of life, giving generously and receiving abundantly. I am blessed and I am a blessing. I am grateful. And so it is. Thank you so much. There are multiple ways that you can give to CSL Ocala, Center for Spiritual Living Ocala. You can do a text to tithe on your phone, get it set up only one time, and then after that, all you have to do is text the amount, and it goes directly to the center to help uplift this community. And the number is 352-320-5110. Or you can donate via PayPal, especially for those online. You can go to our website, cslocala.com/donate, and you can give your gift there. Again, if you are a monthly giver, because that is how your flow works for you, that's okay. We just love, and appreciate your gifts, no matter how they come in and when they come in. It does not matter, because it is your givingness that keeps this community thriving. And so thank you so much. All right. Shall we do an offering? Let's just step into treatment and just open our minds. Spiritual mind treatment is awesome because it opens us to the training of our minds to recognize the abundance of the everything is everywhere, always present. Even in the winter time when trees seem to have no leaves, we know the divine expression of leaves exists under there, and the tree is waiting in anticipation. So too we know that as we activate our divine givingness, we know that we can sit in that waiting, knowing that that expression is coming back to us tenfold, multiplied, pressed down. We know that as we give into our treasure chest today, or we want this prayer answered, we know that the answer is already in the prayer itself. just by giving, it is receiving to us. I'm so grateful for all the givingness that is here today. The very breath of every single person that sits in this room is giving to the trees outside, coming back. And we are all a part of this, in this space together as community. I'm so grateful that it is done. And I release it now into the law, knowing that it's already done. And so it is. We have some announcements. I'm going to ask Shanda if you can come on up here, honey. To do some announcements. You guys, Shanda Panda works on this PowerPoint, and she is part of our tech team. The invisible ones. But here she comes. Thank you so much, love.
We've got a lot of them.
Yeah, we do. You're done. Okay, well first, next week, Circle Sunday, here at 11, we'll be discussing community. We'll have a couple of slides from Cindy's talk today, break up into circles, do some questions similar to actually what we did last week, get into more in-depth discussion about community. So that's for next weekend at 11 a.m. The end of this month, our bowl burning ceremony. So it's going to be Friday, December 30th, because of New Year's. We're going to have it on that prior Friday from 7 to 8:30. And that will also be here. Probably want to definitely get here a little before 7. I know last year we were pretty much full. So that way we can get started, get everybody the chance to get through and take their time to let go whatever it is that's not serving them anymore. So that is, yeah. Let it out. Burn it up. As Reverend Cindy said in her talk, we're having our annual membership meeting the end of January, January 29th, and that's going to be 11 to 1. Probably go later than that because we're planning on eating at some point. So we're not sure when the eating's coming in, but during some time we're going to have some eating and
Details to come.
yes, more details to come into January and let everybody know what's going on and how we're going to be setting that up, potluck. Okay, the green team. Angel and Chris, way back in the back there. Come on, Chris, I know you don't like. Immediately after our Super Second Sunday services, Angel and Chris are going to be meeting with anybody who is interested in the green team. Normally you guys meet right outside on the back porch here. Obviously, if the weather's not good, we'll move it in. Their grounds, their circle meeting, and what they're going to discuss at their meetings after the second Sunday is just the grounds, the cleanup, what they're going to be doing, how they're going to be doing it, when's going to be good cleanup days, things like that. So maybe it'll be cleanup time when they are setting them up. Oh, here she comes. I knew she wouldn't let me talk the whole time.
So today we have a little bit of chili and a few other snacks in the back, but we're going over the vision for the cleanup. We've got a number of trees that are down, and our center needs serious help with cleanup. So if you are a handyman in the garden in any way or have tools or are willing to volunteer, today is meeting and planning that out and taking a look at what it's going to look like to get us cleaned up and how long that's going to take. But we do have refreshments and stuff, so if you have a moment, get with us at the end and we'll get our calendars synced together.
Thank you.
I've got some admin.
And here comes Pete.
So Saturday, this coming Saturday, the 17th, we will be present representing the center at, and let me just pull this up.
Sorry, that's okay.
Okay, it's the annual Light Up the Forest, Saturday, September 17th at Forest Eagle, Silver Springs, from 8 to 1. Pam and I are asking for donations of baked goods or yard sale items or what have you to donate to the center. All proceeds will be going directly to the center as a tithe. Okay. Thank you. And anybody with any questions, just feel free to ask me or Pam. Okay.
You can join us there if you want to.
Yes.
You
Please
can be
join
with
us.
us at the booth if you want.
And Keith, is that on our Facebook page?
I don't know as of yet.
I can, no, because I haven't made one, because I didn't know.
Okay, we'll get it up
But I
there.
didn't get all the needs, so I
Yep.
got to get it after service.
Yep, we'll get it up there, so if anybody's interested, they can let
We
Keith.
just had a question where to bring things.
We have a flow sheet now on ours.
We're gonna be on that and communicating that this week, for sure.
Okay,
Okay,
It's really exciting.
so we'll put it on the Facebook page and maybe send out an email blast?
yeah. So we'll just make sure Rich has what he needs for the email and we'll get it on the Facebook page and go from there. Great. And there we go, perfect lead in after. Volunteers. As Angel had said, and also Keith, always looking for people to volunteer. Approach anybody, ask them what you can do, where it can help. I am sure with all of the people in here, we have more than enough talent, more than enough different types of people that we will find something that works for you.
Absolutely. And you can always look at the events people. Deb,
Yep, and I have on there, to see Deb specifically, if, you can't find her, we'll either get a hold of her or we can, direct you in that way, but yeah.
Yeah, you can get a hold of me. Yeah, there's tons of ways. Yeah, I got you. Whenever you guys want volunteers, anytime is fine with us.
And it doesn't have to just be for an event. If you don't see Angel or Chris around, let Deb know. Deb will get in touch with them or get you guys in touch with them.
Admin, anything. The right circle.
Any music, administration, anything.
Yeah.
We can always use extra people to help out.
And we'll talk more about that at the annual meeting, right?
Yes.
I'm assuming we'll bring all those
Yeah.
other
Mhm.
stuff. Yeah.
Okay, and then Prosperity Plus, we're wrapping up in a couple weeks for this year, but gonna be doing that again next year as soon as possible. And I know I put this quote up here last time: the abundance you desire to experience must first be an experience in your mind, by Ernest Holmes.
Yes.
So
I'm rich.
that's part of what Prosperity Plus is teaching that, how to have that abundance in your mind so you can put it out there, manifest it in your life. So Don and Norma heading that up. Probably you guys will hold the class. You'll be doing the class next year too. Okay. And then Sarah, she's starting Qigong back up. First Saturday in January, January 7th. And it's gonna be here.
I hear my here.
It's gonna be every Saturday.
Every Saturday.
Yep.
Ongoing.
Yep, Saturdays from 9 to 10, but we're restarting on that first Saturday in January. So, show up here, I'd say, show up a little before 9, so we all can Sarah can get started on time and everybody can get the full experience on it. Alright, and then we need the littles.
I'm gonna get my
wherever they may be.
strange child.
I can hear your strange child.
Sorry. Ready? Ready for it now.
Alright, so one more thing I just wanted to add. Anytime you find out that there's something cool going on in the community and you're like, oh my gosh, we really need CSL people to be present and to show up and so people see our light, right? We have this amazing teaching and a lot of people don't even know we're here yet in the community. There are tons and tons of different ways that people connect to the allness, depending on how their spirit connects to the allness, right? I came from a Christian background, but when that no longer helped me with my connection, I kept searching and this is where I found, and this is where I felt like I could grow. And other people may be looking for us too, and that's what I love about this. They don't have to give up their other connection, right? If they want to keep that, they can. But to still come into a community together and just say, hey, you know what, it's all right. If you're Buddhist and I'm Wiccan, it's okay. We can still be together, right? Here they come. All right. But yes, and if you know of somebody that you're like, you know what, this person's like-minded, invite them. Invite them to come and hang out with us. And, we don't bite, or at least some of us might bite, but only with permission. We had to level out that screaming with a little bit of laughter, so there we go. Here we go. Hey, Rara.
Blessing.
Come here, honey. We're gonna bless you. How about that? Is it gonna make you feel better? Yeah. Come on. We're gonna bless you. Yes. Let's go ahead and feel better, okay? Hey, where's our paper? I thought Rona was gonna talk about it. Go get it. Go get it. All right, Roman. No, Roman, come on. Take your blessing first, honey, and then you can talk. Yeah, we're gonna get the paper. She's gonna get it for you, honey. Come on. Let's do blessing first, and she's gonna get the paper. So this young man back here was talking about the same thing we're talking about up here, which is community. And he wanted to share his community thoughts with us. Yeah, so let's go ahead and bless them real quick. Come on. We can still get a blessing, right? Even though we're unhappy. Yeah? So these children are closest to spirit right now, especially this one right here. So guess what? Y'all are going to get a zing from spirit. Here we go. Rub them together. Say it. We love you. We see your light. May it shine on all that you do. And so it is. Thank you, guys. And okay, so now Roman wants to talk about community.
Oh.
Hold on. All right, Roman, take it away.
I don't know where I start from. Anywhere.
Anywhere. You can talk about any of it. This is Roman's community.
Gonna play with Connor and friends. Play soccer with friends. Fun Friday. Fun. Nice. Science. PE. Computers.
Go ahead, Roman. Oh,
And then he also made a fortune thing.
Alright, you do the
I
fortune
showed
and
him.
I'll hold the mic. You do the fortune.
You want me to learn how to do it again? So I had him make these things, and I used to do these, so I had him give me a few questions to write down, and I don't know, let's try it out, Roman.
Go ahead, Roman.
I'll pick blue.
Blue.
B L U E.
No, what number?
It could be 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, or 18.
I picked 1.
Open it up, baby.
1.
Open it up.
And what's the next number?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 18.
I'll do 1 again. Now what's the question for 1?
What is your favorite type of tree?
Mine is the palm trees.
Palm trees.
So community comes in different ways, and for Roman, it's about playing with friends and doing cool stuff together, like computer science, playing soccer, basketball, fun times, and it's nice. So that is community. There you go. Thank you, Roman. That was awesome. And thank you so much, Talia, for doing that and breaking it down for a little back there, you rock girl.
Do we have any December birthdays?
Yes.
Who's got a December Do we want to? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Cha cha cha. Happy birthday, dear Chris. Happy you're not checking us out on Facebook, do that, sign up. Did you notice there's nothing going on for Christmas?
Yes,
Okay,
it's on
just-
purpose.
It is on purpose, it is on purpose, so that you all can spend Christmas Day however it is that makes your heart happy. If you wanna go to your old church, or whatever it is you wanna do, enjoy it. Merry Christmas. I'll be doing the same. Love you all. And so that brings us to our prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us, the love of God enfolds us, the power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And so it is. Much love to you all. Hope to see you next week.
We won't be here.